We're back with another Q&A around the topic of burnout today. So all these questions I pulled mainly around avoiding and recovering from PT burnout, which is quite common in the field of personal training because it's so easy to get more clients. And because we're in for when you run a PT business, it's a time for money trade that you often work a lot, spontaneous hours, early mornings, late nights, and it can quite easily lead to burnout if you don't put boundaries and barriers and structures in place. So question one, what are the early warning signs of burnout most trainers miss? So I'd say more constantly, like you might start dreading going to a session, or you let consultations or free like leads coming in like slip a little bit. You might just not have the motivation or to suddenly lose desire on doing the little task around. And you might just be at the gym all the time and feel like that's your life. Is burnout more about client volume or something else? Yes and no. I feel like with client volume, if you're manually doing all the admin tasks that go towards having more clients, then yes, you'll definitely burn out from client volume. But if you're able to streamline a lot of the processes for your clients in terms of check-ins and admin tasks like payment recoveries and stuff like that, you'll be able to handle a lot more clients and the workload per client won't be as much. So I feel like a lot of PTs get burnt out on that back end stuff. They don't put systems or take the time out of the day because they might get to 40 sessions really quick or 40 clients, and they might not have the time to spend 2 hours or an hour to set up a system. When setting up a system will help you in the long run with not having all that stress and workload carry onto the client, which will help with your burnout. But burnout's different for everyone. Like whatever your threshold is. Some people, if they do more than 40 hours a week, they might start getting some burnout. Whereas my threshold is quite high, and a lot of trainers' thresholds can be quite high. So it's sort of knowing when you're reaching the point and you're feeling exhausted, just take a couple of days. 3, how do you keep your energy up after years in the industry? We're getting into the industry because we have a passion about it. If you're able to streamline, a lot of the other tasks, then it's the best job in the world because you get to rock up, have your sessions with your best friends because you've been training for a while. You get to deliver on results, you said. They get to make progress. It's very fulfilling and rewarding. So I'd say it's quite easy to show up with energy after years in the industry, and you tend you just switch on, really. If you're feeling like that's quite difficult, I'd recommend just having some days off. Have a weekend off, sort of reset yourself because, we tend to also not put ourselves first. So put your training in your schedule, make sure you prioritize your own self-care, whatever that is, and then you'll be able to deliver for your clients. But after you've been spending some time in the industry, you can find the threshold you want. And it's not always about making more money. It's about what works for you. So you might not have desires to make 200K a year. It might be 80K on a 20-hour schedule, which is great work-life balance, and you'll be able to show up with energy for every single one of your clients. And you can do that on 200K a year. You just need more systems and more business in place to allow you to do so. how do you rebuild motivation after burning out? This has happened to me many times on many occasions. And what I found was to reset. Take a week, 2 weeks off, no goals, no KPIs, no expectation, and then set some goals. So reset, set some goals, some realistic goals that just builds consistency back for you. So we're not looking at massive, huge, record-breaking goals. We just want goals that will implement consistency. So whether that's just benchmarks, just what you've been doing, but just start tracking it. And you'll start to get hungry again, and you'll start to want to do more and more because you got into a routine again. So reset your goals and then slowly build them up. And whatever your goal is, just add 10%, 5% month on month. Don't make it crazy. And then when you start getting into higher motivation and you got more discipline, you can then go for bigger and bigger goals. Should trainers be worried about burnout even in year one? Yes. So you need to set some boundaries, whether that's weekends with your family or at this time I'm going to train and this time I'm going to start work, this time I'm going to finish. You need to set some boundaries where you're going to PT. If you don't have any boundaries, you'll earn a lot of money, but you'll get burnt out really quick. So set some boundaries about what you want. What does your ideal week look like? And then we can reverse engineer that. If you don't do that, then you will run the risk of facing those challenges of burnout. But when it's about knowing when you're getting close to burnout to take a step back. So you will reach your threshold. It's just being wise and knowing when to take a step back, just for a little bit. Like it could be 2 days, it could be 1 day, it could be a week. But just letting yourself reset. So don't be too concerned about reaching burnout. Just be aware if you feel you're getting exhausted, just to take a step back. Does burnout look different for gym floor PTs versus online coaches? Absolutely. So it all comes back to the little tasks. You might neglect the little task. You might not have the energy or feel like it's a chore. And when it starts to feel like that, you are probably reaching the stage of burnout. For online coaches, it might be slipping on your check-ins or not being on top of their progress and programs and sort of feeling a resilience or reluctance to replying to messages. In person, it might not be able to be switch on for the session, like being able to listen, being able to ask questions, be conversational. It's different for everyone, I would want to say. And for me personally, I just get like super exhausted. So I'll struggle. I'll be exhausted, but then my body won't want to rest. So I'll just want to do more and more work, and then I'll struggle to sleep, and I won't be content. That's my type of burnout. Whereas other PTs I know, like, they will get sick, or they'll start feeling, their body will start not shutting down, but getting ill, might start getting headaches, and that's like an extreme, like you'll hit burnout pretty much, like take a week off. And then other PTs might, just lose motivation with their own training. So you just got to know where you're at and be aware of, you're in a high drive phase where you're nowhere near burnout, or, all right, like I'm getting a bit tired, I've been working 12, 14 hour days. If I keep this up, I could probably keep this up for a month. If I keep this up longer, I'm going to be getting towards burnout. So I'm going to do I'm going to continue with these long days for 2 weeks, and then I'm going to take a weekend off. So it's just being self-aware in that sense. What role does business structure play in preventing burnout? It plays a lot. So like I was saying, before, if you have systems that automate the back end, if you have automated direct debit recovery, payment recovery, if you have automated checking messages, automated marketing replies, anything like that, it's going to help you a lot with those small tasks that build up. So if you don't have to do that, that will compound, and then you'll be able to do the stuff that you want to do in your personal life or professional life, and that's taken care of. And all those little tasks like send a text message or check an email, they all take like 20, 30 seconds. So they don't take long, but they compound. And it's the effort. You only have so much effort you can put in to all the tasks. So it's nowhere to pour it. So if you can automate processes or set up the business in a way that your time is the most valuable asset, then it'll take a lot longer to burn out, and you'll be able to prevent a lot of burnout by just tasks that you're not very interested in. What's one system that protects against burnout long term? It's time blocking. I do this. Every PT that's successful does this. It's organising your calendar to like 15-minute increments of what you're doing. That way you can plan time where you're doing your sessions. You can plan time that you're doing PT programming. You can plan time where you're spending it with your family, where you're self-care, workouts, all that. And what I mean by time blocking is you just go through and have a calendar. You say, all right, I'm going to do sessions from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. After that, from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., I'm going to program. From 10 to 11, I'm going to do my marketing and social media. And then from 12 to 4 is my time. And then 4 to 7 is sessions, etc. So by doing it to the T like that, you don't feel guilty for just relaxing. And you're able to get work done when you need to get work done.